conversation or that we're talking about isn't even about Robert's rules or about the First Amendment. And I think it's just from a point of view of counsel and something that I've learned over my 11 years. And there's certainly been times when I have felt or I've said things that I wish I could go back and say them differently, or that maybe I didn't say things I wanted to. But one thing I realized a long time ago when I first came to city council meetings is the most important thing in this room is the relationships that people on city council have with each other, people on city council have with the mayor and with the administration and with citizens, and the fact that we find ways to disagree to the point that if I have a disagreement with Mr. Waldron, I'm still okay with sitting down with Willie 2 or 3 weeks from now and talking about the next individual issue. I think that kind of interaction that we have, and obviously there's a lot of different personalities in city council and the administration, and there's also a lot of history in a lot of ways in these relationships. But the one thing that I think that this body would be wise to remember is both from as the right thing to do and also from a strategic way to do about when we want to tackle problems is that we walk away from a conversation or a debate saying, hey, he feels different than I do or she feels different than I do, but I'm comfortable sitting down with that person a month from now or 3 months from now about the next debate. Because one thing I've learned over the 11 years is that there always is another debate. There's always another issue. There's always something else, and that we do have to be able to kind of look at that. And like I said, I've certainly over my 11 years said things or felt defensive or attacked when people accused me of things, and I always didn't respond in the way that if I could look back on, I wish I would. But I think the one thing everybody can agree on here is that, you know, if I have a disagreement with Mr. Waldron, that he doesn't feel as if like I'm not somebody he ever wants to talk to again about individual issues. And I think that a lot of what was said tonight, even if it's not against the rules, or even if it's not, I think the number one thing for us to remember is just the importance of the relationships that we have with each other. And once again, that doesn't mean we can't disagree. That doesn't mean that if somebody says something, the other person can't turn around and say, I disagree with that point. But I think the ultimate question that we ask ourselves at the end of a debate, and maybe it's not that night, maybe it's after things cool down in a day or two or a week or two, is like, hey, do I think that that person I disagree with, whether or not they're an administration member, whether or not they're a citizen, whether or not they're a fellow council member, do I have confidence that that person will be willing to sit down with me and have a rational intellectual debate about whatever the next thing is? And I don't, like I said, I don't pretend that I've always done that, but I think that's the one thing I've learned is that the biggest thing that we have here is the ability that if somebody said, oh, I saw that you and he disagreed, or I saw that she and him disagreed, is like, and we're not in this room, the question is like, yeah, but you know what though? I'd absolutely be willing to sit down and talk to him again about the next issue, or I absolutely would be willing to sit down. And I do think we should be careful about the words that we use, because sometimes the words we use can damage that ability. And I've certainly been guilty of that in the past as well. But like I said, I just think that that's the one question we should be asking ourselves when we have a disagreement with somebody, is next time there's an issue, can I sit down with that person for 45 minutes or an hour and have a rational debate about it? And I think that this body has done that for a long time, and everybody here cares about the city of Bethlehem. And I think that should be the goal for us. And I think if we look at that as the goal, and if we look at that as the question we're trying to answer, a lot of the other things that people have brought up tonight that are legitimate on all sides, I think a lot of those questions go away if we're more concerned about maintaining those relationships going forward. Because like I said, that's the most important thing that we have. Thank you, Mr. Waldron.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.